Welcome to the City of Newark Caribbean Commission segment, where we are using this platform to inform, to engage, to educate, and to even discuss issues that we can recommend as policies to the City of Newark. My name is Esther Lures, and I am the Public Relations Officer. In previous segments, we've talked about the municipal ID card, technology with Alpha Drones USA, immigration and citizenship, as well as mental health and the need to have a strong mental health. Today, I have in studio with me Commissioner Chanel Thompson, who is from Jamaica, as well as our special guest, Miss Marcy DePina, who will talk to us about the available Newark city parks and outdoor spaces. At this time, I'd like for both of our guests and my co-hosts to introduce herself, starting with Chanel, Commissioner Thompson.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me, Ms. Lures. I am Chanel Thompson, as she said just now, and I am currently a commissioner on the Newark Caribbean Commission. I have previously served in positions as an advisor to the Deputy Permanent Representative of the Jamaica to the United Nations, and as a consular officer for the Jamaica Consulate in New York.
Who is Marcy? What do you do? And why, what has motivated you to do? I haven't gotten into, all the various aspects of, your music and involvement with the parks and the, museum. So tell the public who you are, where you're from, and what do you do?
Okay. Well, thank you for having me. It's really great to be on the show. I feel a special affinity with my Caribbean people. As you said, my name is Marcy DePina. My family is from Cabo Verde, Cape Verde Islands, which are on the west coast of Africa. So we have a very similar culture that you find in the Caribbean. So I always feel a connection there. I am the executive director for the Newark City Parks Foundation, which manages the 5 downtown parks in Newark, which are Lincoln Park, Military Park, Mulberry Commons, our newly coined Harriet Tubman Square Park, and Riverfront Park. And I also work as the music curator for the Newark Museum of Arts, and I'm a DJ, and I consider myself to be an arts and culture producer.
Wow.
That's what's up.
It's
a lot of hats, yeah.
So with each of the park locations, can you tell the residents, why it's important to have such outdoor spaces available?
Well, we live in an urban environment. We're surrounded by concrete. We don't have a lot of greenery. So for us, the parks take on an additional importance. They really are our backyards, our front yards, spaces where we can congregate, where we can be outdoors, and just, be able to be in nature. It's something that we don't have a lot of access to here in the city. And in addition, the city of Newark has a lower than average tree canopy, so we have a lot of heat islands in the city. So our parks take on even more importance as being an environmental buffer to the conditions that we have here in the city. So I think especially during COVID, we realized just how important these spaces are, not only to be able to go and enjoy them, but also to take care of them and to hold them as precious resources that we have in our city.
Right.
Okay. So on the topic of taking care of the parks, what are some of the things that you guys do to ensure that these parks are safe and well taken care of?
Well, it's a big job, and it involves everybody. It's not something that one, particular organization such as City Parks Foundation can do. It really takes all of us. But we are in charge of the maintenance, so we deal with the maintenance. We have the not so sexy things that we have to deal with, like vermin control and making sure that garbage is, constantly kept clean. So that in and of itself is a full-time job. But we often talk with youth, with people who visit the parks, and explain to them the importance of keeping these parks clean and safe. In addition to that, some of our parks, for example, Riverfront Park, have some environmental concerns. Riverfront Park sits on the Passaic River, which is a Superfund site, and so it's highly contaminated. So the park in and of itself represents a fight that the community had for over 30 years, and all of that soil had to be remediated, and so it was cleaned. There's fresh soil there, so we regenerated that space so that we can actually use it, and it's healthy to be on that soil. We don't have to worry about it.
Okay, that sounds good.
I mean, so from this conversation, I'm hearing a couple things. One is, you know, outdoor spaces also can improve and impact our mental health. You know, just tying back to conversations we had before, like just being outdoors, taking advantage of, you know, being in the sunlight, exercising, as well as it being a way to help take care of the environment. And so, you know, we just want to encourage, you know, are there ways to just encourage people to come outside and to use these spaces? Like what type of events usually happen during the park, and when should people expect, and how do they get to know what's happening?
Yeah, I mean, people tend to be a little sedentary. I think also with COVID, we kind of got used to being in our homes. You know, children nowadays are on their devices, you know, they're interacting with technology, playing video games. So there aren't as many incentives to go outdoors. So we really utilize events as a way to kind of draw people in, and we do that across all ages. So some of the events that we do are more for adults. They're for all everything that we do is for all ages, but more geared towards adults. So for example, the city of Newark loves house music. Every time we have a house music event, we get thousands of people to come out. But we also do events around health and wellness. We do activities such as yoga, meditation. We have a kickball league that we're starting this summer back up again, which I'm thankful for. On the river, we do boat tours, we do kayaking. So we really encourage people to just get out and explore. And then, of course, we also have activities for very young kids. So we do book readings. We have a couple of events planned that will be specifically for children that are under the age of 5. And, you know, that's the goal, is just to bring as many people out as possible. And then in between all of that, we do schedule cleanups and things of that nature to encourage people to get involved and to take responsibility and be a part and be good stewards of our public spaces.
Okay. That sounds like a lot of resources and a lot of opportunities for people to go out and mingle with each other and stuff like that. Are these events usually, what is usually the cost that's associated with these events? Are they free for the public? A little bit of, I guess, donations here and there, or what? How does it usually work?
Yeah, that's probably the best part about all the events that we do. They are free and open to the public, so anybody can come. We keep our events really all ages. There would be no reason that you couldn't bring your child along with you, even if it's more of an adult-related activity. Okay. Although we have date nights. I don't know if people want to bring their children to date nights.
No, I think they'd rather have kids stay home for that. Get a babysitter, right?
But we do, you know, we really try to expose people to different types of things. So we have theatrical productions, for example, things that you might not necessarily, you know, go to. You might not get on a train or hop in your car and go to New York and go to a play. So we try to bring culture to people and make it easy and accessible and, of course, free.
Okay. Yeah, I think you touched on a good point, because growing up in the Caribbean, like the park was, you know, whatever little park we had, like that was a place that we went to, whether it was after school or during lunchtime. You know, we go there, play, hang out, and it's building community. And it's important that, you know, Newark, that we in the community get to know each other, get to, whether it's networking, build relationships, partnerships, and you can't do that if you're in your home. So, you know, being in these spaces, you never know who you're able to meet and connect with, like connecting with you, and, you know, and just being able to develop and grow. So, yeah, definitely think it's something that all of our residents should take advantage of, and in that sense.
Yeah. Yeah, and in addition to not only the events that we program, we're also open for other people to come and do events. So if you're interested,
I was about to ask about collaboration and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the whole point. The whole point is that we want to be collaborative. We want to be able to build those connections and even promote things from a cross-cultural perspective. Newark has so many different cultures here, and we really feel that these public spaces are great ways to display culture and to also, you know, give people access to that and get them interested in other people and other customs and music, etc.
Right. And how would they go about utilizing those spaces if someone is interested in having an event?
Yeah, if people are interested in doing an event, you can go on our website, which is newarkcityparksfoundation.com, and you could email us at info@newarkcityparks.org, and you just let us know what you're interested in doing, and if the dates are available and it sounds like a good idea, we'll send you over the permit application.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right. Are there any specific events that pop out off the top of your head that you could tell us to look forward to that's coming up in spring just popped, so now we have spring and then we're gonna have summer, so I'm sure people are probably trying to find different places and setting up their calendars and stuff to be outside a little bit more, especially after this episode is aired, you know. Right. So are there any events that you know, like right off the top of your head, that you could say, hey, this is coming up at such and such time, and probably try to ask people to come out and enjoy?
Mm-hmm. So definitely, I think of interest to your audience is an event that will be taking place at Riverfront Park. It's on July 15th, and it's a soca event. It's called Soca Fete.
Okay.
And that will be,
it's all
soca, and you know the Trinis are excited for that because there hasn't been anything in quite some time, and I don't recall ever having an event that was just focused on soca. You know, usually if you have something, it's mixing a bunch of different genres. So that's happening on July 15th. And we have a festival called One Love Music Festival. And of course, right now, the date actually escapes me, but it will be happening also in July. And Lincoln Park is planning something as well. They haven't set the date yet, but I know it's going to be in August, and that's going to be called the Caribana Experience.
Okay.
And I don't know, I hear there might be something else coming in Caribbean Heritage Month in June.
Yeah.
Definitely. We, the Caribbean Commission, is planning to make sure that we celebrate Caribbean American heritage during June. And we have some activities planned. We're looking for sponsors. We're looking for people to donate their time and services. So that information will be shared. You can follow us on our social media at Newark Caribbean. But before we, get to Caribbean Heritage Month, I want to go back to one of our parks that was unveiled recently, the Harriet Tubman Square. Can you tell us the importance of having this space, and what was the thinking
that led up to having that park at that specific place? Why not other of the parks that the city has access to?
Well, I mean, this is, for me, I've been doing this work for a long time, and this particular project is the standout project. This is probably one of the most pivotal and impactful things that I've ever been a part of. In the height of the Black Lives Matter movement after the murder of George Floyd, as we saw monuments throughout the country being torn down by people that were rightly irate and tired of the system of racial injustice in our country, our mayor took a stand and said, we're taking down Columbus statue, which was situated in what was formerly known as Washington Park. Now, Washington Park is on the north end of Broad. It's a historic park. It's one of the oldest parks in the entire country. And it has been around for many, many years. It is historic. Washington actually was stationed there for a little while. So that was why it was named Washington Park. But our mayor said, we've got Columbus in the park. Washington, okay, but Columbus is really, really offensive. And before anything happens, we want to be proactive and take it down. And in fact, there were two people, somebody had climbed up on it and did a performance piece. Somebody else tried to vandalize it. So there were a couple of things that had happened that already pointed to the possibility of there being something dangerous happening, and nobody wanted anybody to get hurt. So the mayor said, we're going to take down the statue. So the statue was taken down. That happened in 2021. And then it was announced that the statue would be replaced and there would be a new monument that would be in the park. The park was going to be renamed Harriet Tubman Square Park, and there would be a Harriet Tubman monument. So a public, request for proposals went out, and artists competed to have their design chosen. And of those designs, Nina Cook John was the winner, and she created an incredible monument called Shadow of a Face, which is, I encourage everybody to go and see it. I mean, even just thinking about it gives me goosebumps because it's so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And it was not an easy project. We had to go before the State Historic Preservation Office to get approval. At first, we received a temporary denial. And there was a lot of public pushback, not so much because people were against Harriet Tubman, but people felt really, especially the Italian American community, felt really offended that one of their monuments was taken down. Right. But rest assured, that monument was purchased by St. Lucy's Parish, St. Lucy's Church in the North Ward, and it was taken down with great care. It was preserved, and it was given back to the church. So the monument is completely intact. Columbus is completely intact, and people can do what they want with it. And our mayor said, there are so many incredible Italian Americans that have made contributions to this country. Right. Let's think of a monument that is more in line with who we are as people here in the city. Mm-hmm. And so, that was a little bit of an obstacle. But in the end, the monument was unveiled on March 10th, I believe it was March 10th. Yeah. And it was unveiled right around Harriet Tubman's birthday. We had a wonderful event.
Pisces.
Yes, Pisces, right? Are you both Pisces?
Yes.
No, I'm your opposite, but I love you guys.
I'm actually March 11th, and she's a week after me, the 18th.
I love it. The water people.
Yeah.
So Harriet, yes. So of course you would definitely identify. I mean, that whole entire area. What people may or may not understand about the area is that was the hotbed of the abolitionist movement here in Newark. So one of the churches was an Underground Railroad station. Okay. So it wasn't just a, random thought that the mayor had.
It's not too far from here.
Right.
Yep.
Grace Church. It was not a random thought that the mayor had. It was really about bringing together this underrepresented history that is incredible history. And, Harriet Tubman and what Harriet did and what all the abolitionists did is not just representing Black freedom or Black liberation. It's true freedom. Yeah. And America is supposed to be, the land of the free, the home of the brave. So for me, Washington is one form of freedom, but it didn't mean freedom for all. The Revolutionary War did not mean freedom for, the thousands of people that were enslaved. Mm-hmm. But Harriet Tubman represents true freedom, freedom for all of us as Americans. And she's an incredible hero, not just for us here in Newark and not just for us here in the United States, but for the world.
Yep. And I think freedom also lends itself to the things that drive towards freedom, like her persistence, her ability to not give up, right? Because the hardship that you went through and still found it necessary to serve, to help, even through the difficulties. I mean, it's something to be said about, just being a good human being. So,
and also realizing that freedom doesn't just mean for oneself, but also to make sure that whenever you see a certain form of freedom for yourself, you bring your people with you as well, So, yeah.
None of us is free till all of us are free.
Till all of us are free, exactly. Yep.
So what was so special about that particular design out of all the proposals that were submitted?
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good question. Well, first of all, the public was involved. The public voted.
Right.
So
okay.
it was the people's choice. And that in and of itself, I think, says a lot. Yeah. The monument is really unique. It's circular in nature. And when you walk into it, there's a wall of tiles that the community actually made throughout several months of activations that we did with people, asking them to use the tiles to tell their own stories of their liberation and what freedom means to them. Mm-hmm. So there's a wall with all of those community tiles. And then on the other side are panels that tell New Jersey's story of abolitionist history. And then on the front of the monument is actually a concrete image of Harriet's face, which is so like her. I don't even know how they did it. It's incredible. And then at the center, inside of the circle, is an iron statue of Harriet's frame. So, complete with a long skirt.
Right.
And that's just one of the elements that makes it, those are the design elements. In addition to those design elements, Audible came in towards the end of the project and proposed an audio component. So that component was narrated by none other than our very own Queen Latifah,
Okay.
our Newark native. She narrated these stories, and those stories are all about that history. So it's about 12 hours of audio that runs. So you can go back time and time again and hear the stories as you're visiting the monument. And in addition to the narration by Queen Latifah, we also recorded stories of people's personal freedom and liberation. So those were recorded at the Newark Public Library, and those are also on display. So you spoke earlier of collaboration, and this project really represents that. It took so many people. Newark Arts was involved, the Newark Museum of Art, the Newark Public Library, Audible, of course, the City of Newark. I mean, I have to shout out our Director of Arts and Cultural Affairs, Fayemi Shakur, who was the driving force behind this monument, and women were at the forefront of this, and it was not easy. No construction project is. But without the diligent, persistent, putting your head down and working in the heart that went into this, there was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. And it was really interesting during the unveiling because, we unveiled with a lot of fanfare. We had drumming, we had elders. It was incredible. And I just thought, wow, in so many ways, people went through a lot in making this monument. And it's almost as if we got just a little touch of what Harriet and our ancestors went through, just a little bit. We felt that, and you feel it in the monument when you visit it.
Right. So I'm going to say that I took the pleasure of visiting the site the weekend after it opened, and it is as beautiful and touching as Marcy is saying. So I encourage you to go down and visit. It's a part of Newark. It's what we created, and we want you, the residents, to go and immerse yourself into it as well. And I know we just focused on the Harriet Tubman, but there, as she said in the beginning, there are all these other spaces that are available for you to enjoy and to be a part of. So, yeah.
And I just want to go back to the Harriet Tubman and put like a little tidbit in there to just say, like, I feel especially, what would I say? Especially happy about the monument and the process. And also, after doing a little bit of research, I found out that Ms. Nina Koch is actually Jamaican.
Yeah. And you'd be happy to know that also the construction company, they're also Jamaican.
Okay.
Yes,
all right.
Marcon Construction, so shout out to them.
Shout out to them.
Marcon and his wife, they were incredible. They were so hardworking. I mean, we worked around the clock. Well,
him and his wife.
Yes.
Construction.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
They worked around the clock. I wasn't doing any of the construction, but they did. I mean, I can remember the 2 weeks before the monument visiting and going, ooh, I don't know if this is going to be ready. And I have a friend who lives in the building upstairs, and it would be like 2 o'clock in the morning, and he'd say, they're laying down the tiles, they're laying down the concrete, slabs, they're installing this. And I was just like, wow, they really, really worked hard on this. And it shows because the craftsmanship was exquisite and is exquisite.
Okay. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yes, I didn't know that. And it just goes to show that, as a community, our differences, our culture all come together, and we all come here in different ways, as I talked about in our immigration segment. We may come here through the refugee program or some other program, but we all come here and we have unique talents and skills and strengths, and we contribute to society. And so it's great to know that this monument was created by Jamaicans, and it could have easily been someone from another Caribbean island, and there are other individuals who are contributing to the city of Newark from various Caribbean islands, from Africa, from outside of the U.S. And so that's why we are looking forward to June to celebrate Caribbean Heritage Month, where we recognize and we celebrate everyone, our children in the schools, the people who are, working in Newark. They may not live in Newark, but they have dedicated their life to serving and being in Newark. And so we want to make sure that we recognize them then. And we will provide more information as time proceeds. But at this time, I just want to thank Miss Marcy for taking the time to come and be here to speak to us, to share what's happening with the Newark City Parks, and to encourage you, the residents, to go out and take advantage of the space, take advantage of the events that happen. Remember, they are free. And is there anything else that you want to share with us that we didn't talk about? Yes, please talk about your music, your...
Right, because we only touched on a small part of the big slice of cake that is Miss Marcy.
You are so kind. Music is my first love. I DJ, and for many years, as I mentioned at the top, I DJ'd on Caribbean Zone, which is in East Orange.
Okay.
And I was the only woman. I was also the only African, which was interesting. But what I always try to do with music and with really everything is join all of our cultures together. That's what it's about. If you look at us, we're not so different, and you can trace that through music really easy. It's either sped up or slowed down. Pretty much the rhythms stay consistent because we have a common origin. That is really what it's about for me. And it also spills over to the work with the parks. It's really all the same thing. It's about raising people's frequency. It's about bringing people together and, just sharing the love that we have within our hearts with each other. Because, the world is not as big as we think it is, and we're closer than we think we are. And I think arts, culture, especially music, but also food. It really brings people together. They're great uniters. So I feel really privileged to be in the space that I'm in, to be able to galvanize people and bring them together in these kind of ways.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Oh, I was about to say, on just a little icebreaker to a certain extent, what would you say are your top 5 songs from the Caribbean right now?
Oh my goodness, right now?
Yeah. Or we could extend it to overtime. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Of all times.
Of all times?
If you would like to take it there.
Oh, of all time. Okay. Of all times. Okay, so of all time. Okay. Definitely United States of Africa by Luciano John Messenger. Hello by Kes.
Okay.
That's definitely a jam for me. Sepa Pudat from Alan Cave from Haiti. I love the music from Guadeloupe. That's really, really hard for me to choose. There's so many good songs. I love Admiralty from Guadeloupe. He's like one of my top favorite artists. And I also we're talking Caribbean, I really like Tito Me Pregunto by Bad Bunny right now. That's like a song that I spin a lot, and I think that's 4, maybe 5, or maybe 5. And I love Calypso Rose.
Yeah.
I like a lot. And you know what? I didn't say Bob Marley because, to me, I can't even pick a song. Could You Be Loved is my jam. Every time I DJ, that's my last song.
Okay.
So that's one of my all-time favorite songs, and I think that was 7 songs. So it's hard for me to pick 5.
Yeah. It's definitely a good. That's a good mix, though. I see you incorporating many different islands and different performers and artists from different places around the Caribbean. So that's what's up, and also across different age groups as well.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty good mix. I was hoping for a few more. I should have probably said 10. Then we would have probably gotten a lot of more Jamaicans.
Right, because I also I'm trying to think, because I have so many songs, a lot of old school songs that are just classics for me that I adore, and it's hard to pick. This is why I love DJing. Yeah. Because I get to, dig in the crates and play things and expose people to different musics. Right. And what I like the most is tying it all together. People are always, I could be DJing at something that is not Caribbean or African, just a regular event, an American event, but I'll still play all this music. And there's always somebody who will come running up to me going, oh my God, that's from my country. How did you know this song? Because they know that I'm not from there. And I'm like, oh, well, you know.
Yeah.
But, I mean, so much great music.
You can tell a good DJ by someone who's able to play across different genres of music, you know. So my people of Newark, I want to thank Miss Marcy again for coming out to speaking to you. And as she has pointed out, right, her music will also be, it's possible you might see her at one of these parks, you know, playing some of your music from your country. So take the time to visit our local parks, to be outside, to network, to build the community that we choose and the one that we desire to see here in the city of Newark. Thank you to the Office of International Relations and Diaspora Affairs for providing a platform for the Commission to be here on Channel 78. Thank you, Commissioner Thompson. We told you when we started we will be bringing other commissioners to this platform. So thank you for being here today as my co-host. And again, Ms. Marcy, we would love to bring you back as things develop, as things unfold in the city. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.